So today we're going to talk about quilts, and specifically whether they're hand sewn or machine made, and how to tell that just by looking at the quilt itself. Obviously that's going to be your best way to tell, obviously, and then you're just going to get better at it through experience. It is definitely something that can take time to see, but once you have clear examples, I think you guys should be fairly well equipped to make those determinations, especially if you're lucky enough to be on Danny's team. You probably already know most of this information. So let's see, we're going to do a brief history. I'm going to be as quick as possible to go through these bullets. So quilting as a craft came to America with the early Puritans. Quilts were made in those early days to survive, to serve a purpose, to provide warmth at night, to cover doors and windows, to help reduce cold. Quilts were functional with little time for women to create decorative quilts. In the early 1800s, whole cloth quilts became popular. The beauty was not in the fabric or colors, but in the stitching and or cording work done on them. Applique became popular in the mid-1700s and peaked in popularity around 1850, but it was only the wealthy that could afford these expensive fabrics that went into these early applique quilts. For the less affluent, quilts were created using scraps of old fabric, whatever was at hand, including old rags and flour sacks. There are two common types of quilts: the comforter quilt for warmer months, for cooler months where you need to be warmer in bed, that are layered with layers of quilting and batting that help keep you a little bit warmer. And then there's summer quilts that are made without the layers, resulting in a lighter quilt for warmer weather. Let's see, so these are some examples of whole cloth quilts from the early 1800s. And then a little bit more history. So quilting was taught to young daughters in the early days. Young girls would make a baker's dozen quilt tops for their future married life. Girls would piece together 12 quilts for everyday use and then one special quilt for her bridal bed. Once engaged to be married, the girls would complete their quilts for use in their new homes. The art of quilting took a big leap forward in the mid-1800s with the development of the sewing machine. And as time passed, quilts evolved to become more decorative, colorful, often using new fabrics of similar weight and feel rather than a hodgepodge of reused materials. So here's some up-close photograph examples of some hand stitching. Like I said, Danny was nice enough to bring in some examples, so we'll go down here and actually look at them and put our hands on them, put our eyeballs on them. Here is up close of someone actually hand stitching. So the stitches on hand stitching are obviously going to be less regular. There should be some natural irregularities to it, right? Machine stitching is going to be very clean, very tidy, very regular. Then here's some more machine examples. And then here's some resources that I have just on the history.